Hi, I'm Susan LeBlanc, and this is Conversations with the Goodman School of Business. And my guest today is Dr. Jeff Boichuk.
Yeah.
Hi, Jeff. Welcome home,
Susan.
I guess it is.
Thank you very, very much.
Yeah.
It's a pleasure.
Great. Jeff is a BBA graduate of the Goodman School of Business and an MSc graduate of the Goodman School of Business, and now is a professor at the McIntire School of Commerce at the University of Virginia. Did I get that right?
Perfect.
Yeah.
All the way across.
Fantastic. So you've had quite a wonderful journey. As we said, you came here and you graduated in 2008 with your BBA.
Yep.
And what made you pick Goodman to come to?
Straight off the bat, I really didn't know what I wanted to do with my career. My parents went to Brock, but really that sort of propelled me away from the school at the beginning. My dad brought me to a bunch of basketball games when I was growing up, and I was a Mac fan.
Okay.
They had this guy, Tyson Chandler, who's quite good. So I wanted to go to Mac, but then just somehow found my way to Brock, and business again was just, I didn't know what I wanted to do, but I figured going into business was a safe option. And then I really fell in love with it while I was at Brock. And again, I wanted to do finance because I thought I want to make a lot of money. Didn't do so well on a test, and that brought me to marketing. And I used to not like marketing because I thought it was very subjective. The answer is always it depends. But I've learned that that's what makes marketing so interesting.
Right.
That it's contextual, and that you need to understand the context within which certain strategies will work in order to be successful.
Right.
And then I got into this whole research thing, and that was through my interactions with a professor in my fourth year. I was taking business-to-business marketing, and at that point in my fourth year, I still didn't know what I wanted to do.
Right.
And then he really changed my life. I did the MSc program, which is very research-oriented, and then that's a great on-ramp to a PhD program, and prepared me incredibly well to do well at the PhD level. And then, was able to do well at Houston.
Yeah. And with the University of Houston, you went to do your PhD?
Yep.
Yeah.
And so I've had two great advisors, one here at Brock, one at Houston, and that's what's really helped me climb the ladder.
It's that mentorship, I guess, is so important when you're building that academic career.
Yeah, and that's the best thing that you're going to get in the MSc program here. You work with an advisor very intensely on your thesis. You learn the academic research process. So you're by the end of your time here, you'll likely submit a paper to an academic journal. You will have produced a thesis, which is just like one essay of a dissertation at the PhD level. You'll conduct original research. You'll collect data. You'll test hypotheses. You'll write up the results. I was just speaking with one of the first-year students yesterday, and I may end up being like a co-author with that individual later in his career. He's working with Abdul Rahman Ashraf, who was in my cohort. We were in the second cohort of the MSc program, and now he's a professor back here.
Wow.
So he's working with Abdul in tech, who's a fantastic guy. So we just have, I have tons of nostalgia when I come back here. I just love the place.
I was going to say, it's been kind of a little bit of, when I said off the bat, welcome home, it's been a bit of a homecoming for you because you've been meeting up with some of your former professors and now colleagues.
Yeah.
What's that like? Is that a little weird, or is that
not really? So I've still developed, or I've maintained relationships with them. We go to conferences together. I wish I could have gone to Thailand with tech this December, but I ended up having to teach a course that would go into the fall. So you develop such good relationships with the faculty that I stayed at Tech's house last night. They went out for dinner with them. I know his family, his kids are just so wonderful. You really develop these amazing relationships.
And we should say that's Professor Tech Thong Papinal
that
you're talking about.
Yes, the chair of the marketing department.
Chair of the marketing, yeah.
Terrific guy.
Yeah, wonderful. Yeah, we have a wonderful marketing department here.
Yes.
And I guess you're part of the legacy of that you've come through, and now you're off there in the academic world yourself. Yeah. How are you enjoying working in academia?
It's an amazing job.
Yeah.
So the whole teaching component gives you this great significance that you do know that you're having an impact on people's lives. The research component is where you're really trying to create new knowledge in a subject that's of great interest to you. It's a wonderful career. I love being a professor.
Yeah. And you've got some really interesting areas of research that you're working on. Why don't you tell us a little bit about that, your research interests?
Yeah, sure.
Yeah.
So I said that at first I had this sort of stereotypical view of marketing, but now I truly know it as this function of the business where you're generating intelligence about your external environment, which includes customers, competitors, what government regulations allow you to do certain things, what the current technological advances are. So I have a paper that's called Know Your Customer, and this is all about having to know how your customer feels about your product, what your customer needs, in order to be able to fulfill their needs. And that's what marketing is at the end of the day. I have 2 papers on where marketing can go wrong. So in one sense, you think of the used car salesman that comes up to you and just tries to sell you the product, irregardless of what your needs are. I have a paper that looks at managerial styles of how to prevent that. And then I have another paper where companies that are just short of their targets will often engage in short-term oriented approaches to just hit the numbers that period.
Right.
And sometimes those, for example, you could just try to push product through to the channel. So basically you're just moving sales up from next quarter to this quarter. And we found that those have negative returns on stock market performance in the year after. So we try to see what kind of approaches are better for organic growth of a company. And then now I'm going to transition into something that I'm very passionate about, and that's fostering sustainable behaviors. So I've done a lot of work in sales, which is really influence, it's persuasion, it's how you get an idea in your mind into your customer's mind. And you really do that by making them think of it on their own. So a lot of people out there are climate deniers. We have leaders who are climate deniers. How do we win them over, you know? How do we get them to adopt these ideas as their own in ways that will lead to lasting behaviors? It's got to be their idea. It can't be rational thought that's gone in one direction. It's just they've got to come to it. So often that's through questioning. It's through getting to know the other person, knowing what their perspective is, and then crafting the message accordingly.
Right. Wow, it sounds really interesting, some fascinating stuff that you're working on. And we're so glad that you were able to take some time when you were in the area to come by and say hi to us all. And
Thank you, Susan.
And we're so I know the faculty is so very proud of you. I know you were talking about how wonderful tech is, but I know that they're so very proud of you from one of the second cohort, you said, from the Master's MSc program. And congratulations to you. You're on a wonderful, sounds like things are just doing nothing but going up for you. So congratulations.
I've been very lucky. Thank you, Susan.
Thank you.
It's a pleasure.
Thank you. And thank you for tuning in and listening to us, and hopefully we'll chat soon.